right, let me refresh and see if I am here. Sometimes you have to refresh more than once. Let's see if third time is a charm. Okay, it looks like it's backwards, so let me try to fix that. See if it flips around. Let me see. Yep, that's what I want. So I'll give you a minute or two to see who comes on. We are going to be doing some techniques tonight. Actually, my favorite technique is what we're doing tonight. So I will give you just a minute. Let me see if I can look on my laptop to see who is coming on. Let me see. On my laptop to see who is coming. Let me turn that down. All right. Oh, okay. Hey, Vicky, Charlotte, and Bonita. Thank you for joining me tonight. I didn't want to mess with the screen and trying to get everything right, so we are going to start right here on the table stamping, and then I'll turn it around. Hey, Jessica, so glad you could join us. I can't really see it on my phone, so of course I'm also balancing up against my laptop. But since our swap for the month of March is techniques, I thought it would be a lot of fun on our Wednesday Facebook Lives to show you some techniques. And as I explained last time, this was one of my favorite techniques, the emerging colors. So this is what I'm going to show you tonight. And I encourage all of you, if you do stamp this month and you do a technique, please post it on our site. I think it would be great to see what others have to share, not just with the, at the meeting, but also throughout the month. So, hey, Kim Tate, glad you could join us. We're just getting started. So I've got enough of you here. I'm going to get started. And of course, the beauty of a Facebook Live is that you can always come back and watch it anytime you want. Kim, I was telling them, you haven't joined us much before and you're just new. And half the time I'm trying to figure out what the orientation is when I'm trying to do, a video. So I'm glad to start it out. We've got it right here, and I'm going to get started. Hey, Michelle, glad you could join us. So as I said, every Wednesday, I'm going to show a different technique because techniques are endless. You all know special folds are my favorite. Techniques are a second favorite. So this was from a class that I used to do. And so this is clear heat embossing, and this is called emerging colors. Because as I explained before, I'm actually taking this piece of paper, sponging it with different colors, and then covering it with the darker cardstock. So this is the technique I'm showing you. These are the directions here, if you ever need to pause it and go back. But let me show you the card I'm going to do. This is the card. And this last month, I did a class on the Timeless Tropical Oasis Suite, and I absolutely loved it. And so the two sets that I'm using, this is from the Occasions catalog. This is Timeless Tropical, and it has framelits, ribbons, all kinds of awesome embellishments that go with it. And before this set, we had the Tropical Chic. So this was a really great set because when you're doing this technique, you want a bolder image because you want that color to come through the bold image. So I thought these two sets just worked perfectly together. So let me show you how I did this right here and put this card together. I took a piece of Whisper White cardstock. I probably should grab my ruler because I know someone's going to say, what were the measurements? So let me grab that. Okay, so everything is 5.5 inches across because that's the way my card, I have it to open like this. So the white cardstock is actually 2 1/8. I wanted it just a little bit bigger. Now, when I sponge things, I like to go from light to dark. So I just have my sponge daubers. The first color I'm using is Mango Melody. And I'm just going to put some color in here. Beautiful thing is there's really no rhyme or reason as to how you put these colors down. Just Put some in there. Next, I'm going to use Calypso Coral. So with my Calypso Coral, I'm going to put some of this in here. And I had to laugh when I was using my sponge daubers. I have some from way back when. And God bless the little guys, they were all dry rotted. So I was getting stuff everywhere. So I went ahead and had to throw those out. Now the one thing I'm doing different is when I did this card, I actually used Old Olive in here. And then I sponged with Mossy Meadow. And I was afraid that was too close in color. So since we're all guinea pigs tonight, I'm going to try Granny Apple Green and see if maybe a little bit of a brighter green, just see how that goes. Hopefully it won't be too screaming. We'll find out, that's for sure. So I'm just basically covering up all of my white because I'm not sure where these colors are going to, the leaves are going to pop out. So I'm just covering all of this. A little bit more green in there. I think I might like the lighter green too. And if I want, I can go back and again with my Mango Melody or the other one just to darken it up. I think these colors work great together. Okay, I got to do just one more. I want it a little bit darker. But that's all you're doing. So think of colors that coordinate that you can put in here. Now, one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to take my heat tool and just dry this for a minute because my ink might be a little bit wet. So let me do that for 1 second. Kind of like a blow dryer. My drying tool. Okay. So now I am going to emboss with clear embossing powder. Whenever you emboss something, you really want to use an embossing buddy. I have this one. My poor little guy is so skinny, but I just can't throw it away because there's still powder in here. So I just kind of put it on here. Get my other one. I hope there's powder in there. Let me try this one. He's a medium size. Here we go. And I'm going to rub it on here. And the reason you do that is because if you have static, or again, if any of this cardstock is damp, it's going to hold this clear embossing powder. So I don't want it to stick anywhere but where my Versamark is. Now this is our Versamark Pad, and this is an amazing little tool to have. It actually works as a watermark. So sometimes I like texture on a cardstock. So say I had this cardstock, I could stamp with the Versamark. In fact, we'll just do one on the back. How's that? We'll pretend like I just wanted it there to show you what a Versamark does. These are my old stamps, so they're not the clean, but this is the back of my card. So say I want to put this palm leaf here and I can sign my name above. Well, I think I got my embossing buddy on this stamp. That's why she don't want to stick. So Versamark is a clear ink. So when I put ink on here, it just makes a watermark, which is awesome. Because again, I like texture, but sometimes a whole different color is not going to cut it. So with a Versamark pad in any color cardstock, it's a perfect color because it's just going to make darker what you have. So you could do a background with Versamark and just leave it as is. But what's nice is it actually stays a little bit tacky. It doesn't smear, but it stays tacky so that you can, it would hold your embossing powder. So that's what I'm going to do with this. Now this is a little bit tricky because you kind of can't see it. I usually, when I was originally doing this, I took it to the light over by my desk. So I'm just going to say a little prayer over this guy. I don't know if you can kind of see the shimmer. I like to have a little something on the edges. So I am stamping this. Even though you can't see it, but the magic will happen. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit right here. Okay. And then I'm going to take my little tray that they don't sell anymore, but these guys were great. And I'm going to sprinkle my clear embossing powder on here. And you'll see, goodness, I got it everywhere. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of lightly powdery on here. And then I'm going to heat it up. Now I want you to know, when you are embossing, you can emboss too much. Basically what a heat emboss, let me put a little powder on there, finger hit it. What a heat emboss will do is it melts the embossing powder, but if you apply too much heat, it is actually going to become not glossy and flat. So a lot of times what I like to do when I'm embossing is first of all, I take a piece of cardboard and I like to put tinfoil on it because it kind of reflects the heat. But then I like to hold it in one place and watch it as it turns. Some people, when they get going, they kind of go all over the place, but I just think it's better to watch your embossing powder melt. So let me give my gun just a minute. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'll try to hold it up higher. But can you see how this is starting to melt when you see the gloss? I just go slowly over it. So I can see that it's melting. Of course it's hot, so let me turn my fingers the other way. Let me burn my fingerprints off. I hope you can see that, but if not, you will see it in person. And that is embossed, but not too much. So just give it a minute. The nice thing is it does dry off in just a second, nice and smooth. And then what I want to do is I'm going to try to hide the solid images, because where I have heat embossed, it's actually going to reflect or not hold the ink. So I want a darker ink. So I'm doing my Mossy Meadow. And you also want a paper towel to go as you wipe from your pieces. So here's kind of where the magic happens. As I rub this, you're going to see where my leaves will begin to pop. And again, just to keep it from drying on there, when you wipe it off, those pop out a little bit more. But I love this technique. I always have. I love any type of heat embossing because there's so much you could do. We could probably do the whole month on different types of heat embossing and just might. So that is just how simple it is. Isn't that great? I'm easily entertained, but I love it. And again, I think I just love these colors. Haven't done much with them before. So the other thing you can do, I created this background and I'll finish this card in a minute. But the other thing you could do is take the designer paper and do the exact same thing. So for example, I took the Garden Lane designer paper, and this was a background. This is what I thought I would use at first, so I didn't have to do all that sponging. So I stamped my images on it on a strip, just like I did with this. And I really couldn't get it dark enough. I did this side Mossy Meadow and this side Early Espresso. I really couldn't get it dark enough to cover the background of all the designer paper, but I still think it was a neat look. So what I'm seeing here in my palms is this designer paper, because I embossed clear on the paper and then sponged the background. So you can do it with designer paper too. Very, very fun technique, I might say. Okay, so for my card, when I put it together, I really didn't want to waste this big piece, although I used quite a bit, but I thought it might be tricky trying to get this centered with the words here. So what I am doing is I'll take this designer paper, the technique that I made, and I will put this on the Mango Melody. Or Melody Mango, whatever it is. What is it? Mango Melody. So I'll put this on here like that. And then for these two pieces, I actually took two pieces. This is 5.5 by 1 and 5.5 by, I think, 1.5. Yep. And just for the record, the cardstock here was 5.5 by a little over 2.25. But in order so I can like make these the right height that I want, I just took the larger piece and I'm going to take with Early Espresso, Our Friendship is Timeless. Okay, so I have that there. And then for the back here, it's my bottom. Because then I can just kind of eye it. And of course I have grid paper. I probably should use a grid paper since I don't have my head right over top of it. But sometimes close enough counts. But I really wanted to get this close. So I can do that by just not having to worry about the top and bottom. So there's my bottom. And then for my top, see, I've got a drafter's eye, so I'm just as happy doing it this way. And again, oftentimes close enough counts. So here I have my pieces. And then I just wrapped a piece. Let me see here. When I wrapped my linen thread around it, I kind of held a piece here. Let me see. I held a piece here that I could tie. And I just did like 1, 2, you can do 2, 3, what have you. And I'll just cut that. And then I'm just going to tie it in a knot. I think you're safest with a knot at first. Okay, let me see here. Of course, your fat finger's getting away, so that can be easier said than done. But I want to bring it around so it's tight. And then they have these amazing embellishments. So if you haven't seen the embellishments, again, this goes with the Timeless, the Oasis, Tropical Oasis trinkets. These are adorable. So I'm not going to bother tying one on yet, but this one here, they have these leaves, which are absolutely adorable. And I just actually looped it through the holes and tied it and frayed it. They have these adorable little pineapples. And then they have these beautiful blossoms. And then the leaves. So I think it's those 3. Yep, those 3. So they really are cute. But anyways, I'll put a trinket on here. And then more than likely, when I do this base piece, I like to use liquid glue. Only because I've got the string behind here. And I know that I really want this to be adhered well. So I love my liquid Tombow. And then I would always, you know, sometimes when you cut cardstock, it can be slightly off. So I would always make sure it's even on the fold side that I like. Hold it down for just a minute, because if I have to trim anything, of course I can trim it on this side. So once I put my little trinket on there, tie it in a knot, I've got this really cute card. Huh, who knows, it might be my swap card from Monday. But if not, I have tons of other techniques that I can choose. Gosh, I feel like that went so quick. I guess it did. So again, every Wednesday, I am going to showcase a technique. Now next week, we have our meeting Monday night. So let me see if I can turn this around. You know, I can't go at least one night without making everybody dizzy. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Here I am. And if I'm not mistaken, I have to keep it horizontal, but that's what I wanted, because whenever I'm, you know, doing a Facebook Live and I have it going vertical and then I turn it, I feel like I have this much space to show you what I'm creating. Let me hold my arm out there. I've never been good at selfies, so this is really kind of new to me. So anyways, I hope you love this card. I really enjoyed it. And again, there's so many techniques that I just think we need to really do this at least for the whole month of March. So I did want to remind you, though, that next Monday is our meeting at Why Not Pizza. It's at the Greenbrier area, and if you have not RSVP'd yet, please do so, because probably tomorrow, Saturday at the latest, I'm going to start tallying all of your Dollar Days accomplishments. So please record your accomplishments for last month, for February. Please have them in no later than midnight Friday, because after that, I really can't go back and retally everything because there's just not enough hours in the day. But I will wait till after midnight Friday to get those done on Saturday. And again, our swap is a special technique. Now, if you're not sure of a technique, then Google it. I mean, we have Pinterest. Anything you want is on YouTube. You can fix your plumbing or stamp a card. So when you do this, go ahead and make 8 full cards, and then we will swap them at the meeting. So you will go home with 8 different new techniques. And then you all know we'll take pictures and post them on the website. But I do encourage all of you, any technique, whether you're at the meeting or not, please do a card with a technique and post it on our Facebook group. We always say we all learn from sharing, with each other. And I love to see what you all create too, because I really do have the most creative bunch in all of the Tidewater area. So I know that. And I just love to see what you make. So don't forget about our meeting. I think that's it. Let me see. Yep. RSVP now. Have fun stamping. Let me see. Jessica said, for your information, when you're doing a live and you go back to watch it later, you cannot zoom in on any portions of the video. So if you show, I got to press see more. So if you're showing directions, you must hold them up to the camera so folks can see them. Gotcha. Could you not see those? You know what I'll do? I'll take a picture. I'll take a picture and I will post it under the comments for this so you can definitely see the directions. And again, I've done technique classes for years. I've kind of taken a break from them and I probably need to go back some, but I have 2 notebooks on the 6x6 techniques. I have an entire notebook where we did them as cards. So there's no shortage of ideas out there. So I will go back. Any questions you have, if there's a special technique, and maybe I'll take some requests. I don't sing, but I can take some requests. Sorry, I'm shaking. I've been holding my arm out for a while. But anyways, let me know how I can help you create. And I just appreciate you joining me. And I will post those pictures so that you can see a still life photo of what I showed tonight. Thanks so much. God bless you all, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.